Hi. Welcome. So, I'm going to be telling my story, part of it, while I cook. I don't cook. I'm not a cook. I cook three things. Chicken and rice with sazon, burgers, and steak and rice. That is about as much as I can do. So, I'm going to try fried chicken because I need to cook, and I figured I would just tell my story while I cooked because it's hard for me to tell my story sitting down. It's hard for me to talk sitting down. I do much better when I move around. So, having said that, I'm going to try to cook. Alright, so, shit, I'm distracted. I can't listen to someone else's story and mine at the same time. Well, tell mine at the same time. I fucking hate these phones. Okay. So my first memory ever is of my dad throwing me up the stairs by my neck. I don't remember too much about it. I just, can picture it from, my point of view, and then I can picture it from, an outside perspective, as if someone was watching me. So, that's when it started. Then, I don't really have too many memories of it before my mom died. I just know that I felt like it was a secret that me and my dad had. Like, I knew I wasn't supposed to say anything. It was like having to, kind of live a double life as a child, which is confusing, obviously. So I remember him, trying to, separate me from my mom. We would watch figure skating together, and he'd be downstairs drinking, and he'd come all the way upstairs just to kick me out of my mom's bed, and then he'd go back downstairs back to what he was doing. So I asked him later why he did this, and he said just to be an asshole because he was jealous that me and my mom were close. But he was a drunk. All he did was, not all he did was drink, but he was an alcoholic. And it was a thing for me and my mom to watch figure skating at night together, and that pissed him off. So he would come, put me back to bed, go back downstairs, and then my mom would come back and sneak me back in. So it was stuff like that. And then he would tell me to do something that there's no way that I would know how to do unless I was taught, every other kid ever. So he wouldn't teach me. He would tell me, do this. I would get it wrong, and then he'd snap on me. So that's where my perfectionism comes from, and a whole lot of other shit. But I just remember being scared a lot. I was always scared. And then I remember feeling wicked alone and isolated. As a kid, this is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. Which obviously affects your development. It arrests your development. Mine was arrested at 3 when he started physically abusing me. I mean, that's just how it is. Fuck. I gotta wash my hands again. Shit. And then my sister was born, and that made shit cool. But then it made, I think that's what it was. Like, I was an only child, like, I was the special one, I was their only one. It's not like they had a choice. And then my sister came along, and then she was the good one. And this is my dad's standards, not my mom. My mom had nothing to do with this. She was the complete opposite. She was not abusive at all. She was the best mom ever. Like, she had nothing to do with it. It was all my dad. So he picked my sister, and then ever since my sister was born, that's how this shit started. He still favors her to this day, like bad, bad. Super destructive. So, yeah, there was this like separation. Like, he would always try to separate me from my mom because we were so close, like super close, like closer than like he's ever been with her, closer than my sister ever was. Like, we just, obviously I went to her because she was the only other one there who wasn't being a piece of shit. So naturally I gravitate towards her. And that pissed him off. I don't know what the fuck he expected though. So then, how much do I need though? You don't say that at all. They give me the recipe, but they don't tell me how much. Of what? In a pie plate, add your flour, baking powder, baking soda, salt, pepper, how much though? Great, thank you. I always felt separate from the rest of them. I don't have any measuring shit. I got cups and stuff. I think this is like a cup. I'm gonna say this is a cup. What was I saying? I forget what I was saying. God damn it. Oh yeah, my dad would like separate me from my mom, but then he would be like super cool with my mom and my sister, and then I was just kind of off to the side, which as a kid is extremely damaging. This is confusing as hell. Yeah, so then my mom died. And that's a whole nother story in itself, but, that looks like more than a cup. Bitch, I don't know. This is a tablespoon, I know that. Oh my god, am I really this slow? Okay, I see. Ground red pepper. No, I don't like hot shit. Yep, so then my mom died and it was all over. Just angry, like, this this motherfucker unleashed everything on me. Everything. There was no one there to stop him. It was just me, my little sister, and my dad. Shit. This shit's wicked strong. And like I couldn't tell anyone what was going on because even at that age I knew if I did, my sister would be removed, and she was super close to my dad, like that's all she had. So I just fucking took it, I guess. I did my best to just survive it. But the only time, like, after my mom died, this man would chase me to my room. I'd jump in my bed and pull the covers over my head as if, like, that's gonna protect me. He would pull them down over my face and then pull them as hard as he could against my neck. And the only time, like, the only way he would stop is if I either, like, scratched him in the face, got him in the eyeballs, or if I, like, either kicked, kneed, or, like, grabbed him in the balls. He never stopped on his own. Every single time he attacked me and stopped was because either I stopped it or my sister came and stopped it. My father is 6'5", 400 pounds. At the time, I think he was like 350 or 300. But my sister was always the good one. Always behaved, always quiet. Because I'm the one getting abused, so I'm naturally the squeaky wheel or the bad one or the misbehaving one. Like, bitch, yeah, you're right, I'm acting out because I have all this shit happening to me and I can't tell no one. He didn't keep my mom's friends around. He didn't have any adults around, none. He was the only adult in my life. Except for my friend's parents, but by the time, like, I couldn't tell them. I couldn't tell anybody. Because being in that house was better than going to foster care. Because I had a codependency on my dad because he not reminded me, but he was part of the family that my mom was part of. He has knowledge of her, he knows her, he had a relationship with her, and if we were to go into foster care, it has nothing, I'm going to be stuck with people I don't know that have nothing to do with my mom. Never mind the fact that me and my sister will be split. I don't know what's going to happen to her. I can't protect her. My dad can't. So I just kept my mouth shut and fought back on the inside. I'm so bad at cooking. It is just not my thing. That's it. Shit. I think that's too much. I don't know. Can't tell. Kinda looks like it. Okay. Then we have 3/4 cups. He went for my neck a lot and my face. I remember this just like feeling of terror, like knowing it's coming and bracing myself, like it would often start with like this, and the yelling, and the stomping, and this man is enormous. Like, when he stomped, you could hear it, like, he shook the house. So, and like, I didn't even have to do anything. Like, I could just be like sitting up in my room, and then like, he's downstairs and like either gets a phone call or sees something and he's pissed. Then I hear the yelling and slamming, and I'm like, fuck, here he comes. And then soon enough, up the stairs, doom, 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 doom. Boom, busts through the door, I pull the covers over, it doesn't matter, he comes up, starts strangling me and wrestling with me. Like, it was paralyzing. I was so angry that like I wasn't allowed to defend myself. Like, he took that from me because he's so big. I can't defend myself against someone like that. And like, if I tried, it just got worse. So, what's the point? So then the resentment starts to build, and I can't talk to anyone about it. I can't tell anyone. Older now, like, let's say preteen or whatever. And like, the other thing is like, my mom was dead, and like, we have all these like holidays and school and stuff like that, and like, my mom was dead and my dad was super abusive. Like, school was just not fun. Like, it was just a constant reminder of like, my mom's dead and my dad's a piece of shit and it's just me. It was always just me. Like, and like, that was really like visceral, the way I could feel that. Like, super alone. Like, super alone. My mom was like my only protector and she's gone. I'm not allowed to tell any other adults. It's just, and then like, just the resentment because I couldn't defend myself. So I started getting angry and angry, which then of course I have an issue with authority because why wouldn't I? Like, my authority is abusive. I have a problem with that. Also, the fact that I have no control over my life whatsoever, no say. I don't have a choice in how I defend myself or how I protect myself. Serious resentment because of the lack of choices I had. Serious issues with authority because I already felt like I had no control over my life. And like, I already had I had severe ADHD, by the way, undiagnosed. So I had a lot of trouble in school, but they just thought it was like a behavioral issue, which it wasn't. Actually, it probably was because I was acting out. So I don't know, probably both. Definitely the ADHD played a factor. I couldn't sit still. I couldn't learn because all I was thinking about was how scared I was to go home, how I didn't want to go home. And being at school wasn't any better because I had such a hard time learning. Like I couldn't retain. Like, I would read the books and I would read too fast and I couldn't remember anything. So it's like, what's the point? To this day, I can't do math. School was just like such a source of pain and inadequacy. Like, it just was not a good thing for me. And then home was a nightmare. So it's like, where do I go? So I ended up going out and going to my friends' houses, which was good. They were great influences, good people, that was good. But then we get older and we start going out and stuff like that, and it's like, you get to that age where you get a little ballsy, you know what I mean? You get just a little experience under your belt and you think you know it all. That starts happening. And I start going out. At 15 years old, I started driving. Actually, I started driving at 15. Actually, I started driving at 14 on the road. Because my dad bought me a car at 14. That's the other thing. This man would buy me anything I wanted, give me whatever money, cars, bought me any car I wanted, brand new, That was his love language, or how he got me to shut the fuck up. He kept me quiet with money. We go to Newberry Street every week, sometimes twice a week. He got me a $600 prom dress from Newberry Street. Oh my god, that thing was gorgeous. All black, sweetheart neckline, mermaid, crinoline with, like, it looked like pieces of pastel paper, like crumpled up, and oh, it was gorgeous. So he spoiled the shit out of me. And that's what everyone saw. They saw him spoiling me, but they didn't see him abusing me. So that was good. And, like, I would hear all the time how lucky I am and how he's such a great dad and all this. And I'm sitting there, holy shit. So I just ran. I ran. Any guy that would take me away, I ran. You know, I'd be gone for weeks and months at a time, and my dad wouldn't even call. I'm a 15, 16-year-old girl. He knows I'm out with dudes. He knows I'm drinking. He knows all this, and he doesn't call once. Bitch, let me tell you. My little girl, my little 15-year-old, 16-year-old little girl running around in the streets with these hot boys running around, bitch, I'm out in the streets that night. It's not gonna be a week or even a day. I'm out in those streets, and this man didn't even pick up the phone. I mean, back then it was great. I loved it. Like, that's what I wanted, but that's how you end up a 30-year-old single mother with no skills. None. He didn't teach me anything. All he did was use me to vent, and then bought my loyalty and my silence. That was his purpose in my life. I'm not going to call him a parent because he wasn't, and to this day isn't. So, yeah, I start running around drinking wicked bad. I mean, every night a handle of Rubinoff, and I'd get the shakes every morning. It weighed so much Adderall that I'd run through the school screaming, literally through the hall screaming like a banshee. It just got worse and worse and worse and worse because I was running from him. And then, of course, the worse my behavior gets, the more he has to blame me for. So then I start acting out, have all these issues with authority, have severe, untreated, undiagnosed ADHD, which we knew because I had a test. I took the first part but never went back for the second. So, the worse my behavior got, the more he could point and be like, see, and he used it against me, like, oh, you're doing all this crazy shit, but never ever mentioned, like, why I may have been doing it. Never asked me why I was doing it, and, like, the only time he was bothered by it is when it cost him money. That's the only time he cared about what I did, is when it cost him money. Like, when he'd have to get one of our cars out of the impound lot because I got towed, like that type of shit. That's when he gets mad and uses my behavior against me. Behavior that he caused. That's my favorite part. So, I remember this one time I was 19 and I was using wicked bad already, like, and I convinced him to give me his ATM card, and then he thought about it and wanted it back, and I said no. I was like, you already gave it to me. I was sick. I was so dope sick. I didn't care. So we start fighting over the card, like physically wrestling over it. So we go between the computer room, my room, and the bathroom, like him chasing me and me like getting away from him, and then he finally trapped me in the bathroom. I locked the door, but he busted through it. This man got me. I was 19, and I was wicked skinny and sick, and his kid still. And he pinned me on the bathroom floor on top of me with his weight and starts choking me, both hands. So then he ends up picking me up and trying to like put my head in the toilet, trying to like shove my head in the toilet, but I was able to keep my head out of it. Then I tried, there's like this tiny little window in the bathroom that I tried to jump out of. This is second story. I tried to jump out of it. And this is a big ass house. Um, so then I fucking kick him in the balls wicked hard. And then I run into my room, which was connected to the garage, which was like a little bit lower. Like I could get to the ground from my bedroom window using the roof of the garage. So I did. I got out, I jumped from my garage roof, and it was freezing and pouring. It was downpouring. I had no jacket, I just had a shirt like this, no shoes, just socks, no phone, no money, no nothing, no keys, no car, no nothing. So I ran to my friend's work, McDonald's, down the street, and called for a ride and went to my ex-boyfriend's house. So that happened all the time, shit like that. Um, I just remember feeling super alone. Like, it's always like this me against the world thing, which I hate. I don't like that. Because I like people. But, like, my family is so dysfunctional and, like, chose sides so early. Like, me and my mom are a lot alike, and then my sister and my dad are a lot alike, but she's 3 years younger than me, so she didn't really know my mom that well, like that she can remember. Um, so she was closer with my dad. She even said that my mom loved me more than her, which was not true at all. I just knew her longer because I was born first, literally the only difference. But she was super close to my dad and excused his behavior constantly to this day. Yeah, we're not close. Um, like looking back, like I was depressed my whole life. Like I had no idea that that's what it was up until recently. You get so used to it, especially when you're abused at such a young age where your development is arrested. Like you get depressed as a kid, and that for me dictated the rest of my mental health. Like I had no idea that I was depressed. And of course I was. Why wouldn't I be? I've been in survival mode literally my entire life since I can remember. My first memory ever was getting thrown up the stairs by my neck. I've always just been trying to survive. Like I see people buy like nice coffee mugs and like nice stupid little things for their home, and I'm like, why are they wasting money on that shit? Jill, bitch, because that's what people like. People like to live. Not everything needs a purpose, like 20 different purposes, like a Swiss Army knife. Like, it's okay to buy something that only makes you happy. Like, that's okay. That's something new I learned. Like, and like being in survival mode as a child, first off, and then secondly, like your entire life, like has a serious effect on how you view the world. And it's very dysfunctional. Everything has to have a purpose in order for me to consider it, which is just surviving. Like, I'm gonna take a dance class with my daughter. I'm gonna do gymnastics with her too. That's living. I started swimming and rollerblading. Like, that's what people do. Like, they don't just sit at home and watch TV, like, and just try to make it through. Like, that's not real. I mean, that's not healthy. That's not how it's supposed to be. I didn't know that up until recently. And it's still something I struggle with. But the physical abuse was terrifying. And then, like, it continued. It got really bad during my teen years because of my behavior. Not saying that it was, like, it was my fault. I'm just saying, like, I got a little more wild. And so it got worse. But now, I called the cops on my dad when I was 2017, because my RS, my sexual, my SA perpetrator, my abuser, 5 years of SA. I was living with him. We sold the house and then lost all the money we made from it before we could get another apartment. Me and my dad were living together. I ended up in my abuser's house because I literally was so sick and had nowhere else to go. Like, all my friends were either dead or using, and I had just gotten clean. It was a whole mess. So I ended up at my abuser's house. This motherfucker, my dad, had nowhere to go. So I asked this asshole, hey, can my dad come stay here? He can pay you this much, which was reasonable. He was like, nope, I don't want money. I want you, right? So then I had to lay down with this man so that my dad had a place to stay. And my dad knows, he's known the whole time that I traded drugs for sex and that he took advantage of me in this whole thing. He's always known, and he's always been very civilized and cordial with this man. Because of course, because my dad's a really nice guy. Unless you're me, of course. Then it's different. You catch those hands if you're me. So nice. We were all living together so harmoniously. Then one day my dad comes back from the grocery store and I ask him, hey, did you get this? He snaps because I guess he forgot. Whack, 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 whack. 5 times in the face with his hands. We measured. His hands go all the way back on my head. He has these giant gorilla hands. Like, I gotta measure them someday. Slaps me in the face in my artist's house that I'm paying for with my body. So I had his ass arrested, and then ever since the physical shit stopped. Then comes the gaslighting. Enter the lying. That's what he does today. The gaslighting and the lying. Trying to tell me what I know he did isn't true. Trying to tell me the abuse you just leveled on me, A, you either didn't do, or B, is an abuse. Like, bro, 30 years you abused me. Never mind the boyfriends I've had who did the same thing. I know what abuse is. I know when you're being abusive. You're going to sit there and tell me you're not? That's gaslighting. Every day. I call this man out every day on how he triggers me, on how he's super disrespectful and still to this day abusive. I call him out all the time. And he denies it. Bro, I know what I saw. I know what you said, and I know how you said it. I don't know. I don't know how. I don't know if he's a narcissist or sociopathic, because the funny thing is that he was he has suffered severe trauma and abuse himself. Like, he was a victim at first, but now, of course, is the perpetrator, and he has been the perpetrator for the last 30 years. He was a victim for the first 15, 20, let's be generous, 20. This motherfucker's 65. I'm 32, and he's still doing it, and I call him out constantly. You're abusing me. You're abusing me. That's abuse. That's a lie. That's not true. That's disrespectful. That's disrespectful. That's dismissive. That's dismissive. The worst part that he does for me is the dismissiveness. This motherfucker, every time I talk, has something to say. In the middle of what I'm saying, it interrupts me to finish my own sentences. This man won't even let me finish my own sentences. He jumps in and finishes them for me. And then when I tell him, nope, that's not what I was gonna say, he gets mad at me for correcting him. Bro, what? Yeah. How are you gonna get mad at me for correcting you when you tried to finish my sentence and was wrong? That's not my shit. That's yours, dude. Like, that's my favorite one. super just like naturally rude, but only to me. Everyone else says he's such a nice guy. I'm like, yep, yep, yeah, you're right. He's so nice. Do you know that he turned his kids against each other? Did you know that he told his younger daughter about how his older daughter was using drugs and everything she was doing? I kept everything from my sister. She never saw my drug use. She was never involved in it. I never stole nothing from her. She was like doing her own thing 100%. And I kept it that way for a reason. And this man goes behind my back and tells her everything I'm doing, plus exaggerations, plus misinformation, plus lies. He used to steal food from me. He would beat the shit out of me, give me money. I would buy food, put it in the fridge for later, and he would eat it every time. No matter how many times I put my name on it, no matter how many times I hid it, he found it, it didn't matter. This man, just the last 6 months, gained 50 fucking pounds sitting on his ass while I lost 25. He's been stealing food from me. He takes my food stamps, like, but he's elderly and disabled. So I have to. If I don't give him food, if I don't bring him food, if I don't buy him food, that's elder abuse, and I'm the abuser. Mhm. Yeah. So now I need to feed this man while he still abuses me, still triggers me every time I see him. He triggers me every time. Nothing I say is important, nothing what I do is important. It's just, and like, the love bombing after is sickening. Sickening, sickening, sickening. Or when he needs something and I'm in a shitty mood, him trying to like butter me up, it literally makes my skin crawl. Like, I don't like being in my skin. Like, I don't like feeling it. And anytime he says I love you, I twitch. I twitch. My sister does the same thing. She hates it. I don't like when he is affectionate at all. Like, it makes me feel super uncomfortable and like it's a calculation. So it's to this day it's still a fucking problem. It's still it's just so offensive. Like, bitch, I'm 32. 32. Bitch, you're 65. What the fuck are we doing here? I have explained everything to him. I have defined everything. He knows. I've showed him my books, my readings, my research, my information, my facts, my history. I've showed him and told him everything in an effort to change it and fix it, and still this 65-year-old bastard does the same shit. But now that he's physically disabled and I'm older, so once I started fighting back, the physical stuff started to die down, and then I got him arrested and it stopped. But then the emotional shit got way worse, way worse, way worse. And then, because I was still I just wasn't well. Like, I stopped doing heroin, but I wasn't in any therapy. I wasn't in any meetings or groups. I wasn't doing anything. So I was still just as sick. I was just abstaining. So I'm still all fucked up, and he used it against me. Oh, it was never enough, especially considering my sister's a nurse in Boston, married to a doctor. Excuse me, sorry, I'm just like a little old drug addict. Sorry. I'm so sorry to disappoint. Which, by the way, isn't true. Because at the end of this week, I will be a fully trained recovery coach. Finally. And like, my sister went to school for 10 years, just got her master's. The last 15, 20, 30 years has been my personal research for this position. Like, us addicts don't like when these professionals, these clinicians come up in here with their books and that's it. We don't listen to you or take you seriously unless you have personal experience with these issues. We don't like these book, I don't even know what to call them, these professionals, like the DCF addiction counselor. This bitch asked me what I'm gonna do to quit smoking weed. Bitch, I'ma quit. What? Have you ever heard of anyone going to detox for weed? Have you heard of a medication for detox from weed? What strategies or like methods do you know for stopping smoking weed? There are none because you just quit. That's the type of shit I'm talking about. So like, it may look like I was just like fucking around the last 20 years, but I haven't been. I've been living what a lot of people live. It's like research. It's like in the field research. The last 15 years of my drug abuse, clean relapse, the whole thing. And then my childhood abuse is another way, because a lot of us addicts have like been abused in our childhood. And that's another thing that gets lost on us, I think, is that our childhoods are pivotal. And just because we're adults and like we're more conscious of our behavior doesn't mean that like that childhood behavior and feelings go away, or that damage that's been done in childhood, we don't always necessarily have control over it as adults. So I think that our childhood plays a bigger part than we like to admit, or that we know. So that's kind of why I wanted to share this. Like, I literally didn't feel like I mattered to anyone. Like, I was the pretty girl in high school, and like, I had the nice clothes and the nice cars, and I looked good, and I had the status and blah blah blah, but like, that was it. That was all I had. That's what everyone saw and valued. But like, I just didn't feel like I mattered at all. And it's so like, it's not even like a choice. Like, if you were to ask me, like, do you like hurting yourself or do you want to hurt yourself? Like, no, I don't. But like, not taking care of myself or valuing myself essentially is the same thing. But it's like, you don't even notice it. Like, I didn't. I thought I had all this confidence and like this self-esteem because, bitch, I look good and this, that, and that. Like, no. Because if that was true, I would be eating better, I would be sleeping better, I would be looking into ways to fix my mental health without being forced by DCF to do it, like, if that was true. So, I have never, like, it's weird because I know that, like, I have these special talents and I'm a good person and I'm this and I'm that, but then there's that other side where, like, bitch, I can't do nothing right. I'm just a fucking addict, 32 years old, single mother with nothing to show for it. But then, like, there's the other side that, like, I have all these experiences that I can relate to people with, and like, I've survived amazing, like, my survival has been amazing against horrible things. Like, it's very strange. It's like, I see myself in two different ways, which are contradictory. It's very confusing. It's hard to identify these things sometimes, and then the other times it's like you hear the same shit so much that you don't really think about it. like, you hear self-esteem, self-worth, value, self-care, blah, 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 but, like, do you really think about what that means? Like, for some people it is getting your hair and makeup done or whatever, but, like, a lot of us, like, take eating disorders, for example, like, it's a way to punish, I don't know, I don't want to, no, I don't know, that's not my place to say. I wouldn't eat for days just because I didn't feel like it. Now it's like, bitch, you need to eat right now or else your body, like, it's like, bitch, nope, nope, you need to. I have a whole thing now. Tea, eat, drink, stretch, exercise. It's a whole thing. But it's like, it took so long for me to get it and understand it, and it's like, you're so used to living the same way for so long that people say the shit to you and you just automatically discount it, like, that's not me, and then I look back and I'm like, fuck, that's exactly me. I don't know, I'm trying to, like, verbalize that, like, it becomes so normal, like, the dysfunction and the self-loathing and the, like, devaluation of ourselves and, like, the, like, what we accept from other people, like, shit, my fucking ADHD, man, I swear. I didn't notice all these horrible things, like, that were being done to me, and, like, not being done to me, but, like, what my dad gets me to do to myself, like, the self-destructive shit, that's the problem. I've been so self-destructive for so long that A, I don't even notice it, and B, it's a habit. Like, I don't eat for a couple of days because I like the way my meds taste, and I don't want to fuck that up with eating. You know what I mean? Like, that type of shit. My dad fucks with my, like, self-image so hard that, like, I've been in intensive, like, therapy and doctors and social workers and collaterals for the last 4 years. And, like, I kind of, like, brought all this shit together in the last couple of months. Insight. I gained a lot of insight from my therapeutic work beginning in, like, May. I was scared all the time. I was alone all the time. I didn't value myself enough to eat every day, or to go to the doctors, or to go back to school, you know? I always felt like stuck in a family where I didn't belong. Stuck in a family where I don't belong, because me and my dad are both super codependent on each other. I backed off, especially the last couple of months, but he is also super dependent on me. Codependent. And dependent, honestly, at this point. So I've been stuck somewhere I didn't belong, which is such a contradictory way of living that makes it so hard to function and messes with your head so bad. And then I had my daughter, and now my family is me, my daughter, and my mom. Her spirit, her essence, and my 2 dogs. That's my family now. And, like, I chose that. And, like, I get to now decide who I am. I get to now have control over my decisions. I now get to build the life that I want, which is so cool because I've always been stuck. I've been so depressed, and my dad never taught me how to work, how to pay bills, how to budget, how to use money. All he ever did was throw money at me to keep my mouth shut. So 30 years old, I don't know how to take care of my kid because I don't know how to budget. 30 years old, I've never even signed a lease before. I've never even seen a lease. I have no idea how to do any of this shit. So that in itself is like abuse because I don't have control over my life and I have to rely on other people, mainly him. So I was like, nope, fuck this. So I taught myself and I talked to whoever I needed to talk to, go wherever I needed to go, and I figured out how to do it on my own. So for the first time, I'm like truly making my own choices about my life and actually building a life of my own. I'm no longer the outcast of a good family. I'm the center of a good family that I've created myself. That is so cool. Like, I love that. And now, like, the recovery coach thing, like, I already have a, I don't want to say job offer because they're not like, here, Joe, do you want this job? I still have to apply. I have to send my shit in, but she was like, we need recovery coaches so bad. And I was like, I'm not certified. She was like, I don't care. Do the application. Let me know when you're done, and I'll pull it. So that's pretty promising. And they also hired me for another position, but it's going to take a while. So I finally feel like an adult. Like, I don't need to protect my sister because, A, she doesn't want my protection. That bitch banned me from her wedding because I punched her friend in the face 15 years ago or 10 years ago. I don't remember. I think it was like 2011, maybe, because she was bullying my sister, and I called her. She was passing me, leaving my house. I call her out. I'm like, bitch, she stops. I stop. She backs into my car and totals it. So yeah, I got out and I slapped her in the face. Which, obviously not great. But I have no history of violence whatsoever. I've never been arrested for violence. I've never been accused of violence. I've never been in a fight except for my dad and my sister, and that was defending myself. So, and my behavior, I'm a 32-year-old mother. Like, what do you think I'm going to do at your wedding? Number one. Number two, someone didn't want me there, whether it be her friend or my sister just doesn't want me there. Like, she's still embarrassed of me. It doesn't matter. I'm banned from my little sister's wedding. So now she has a husband that can protect her. So I'm good. Cut off. Cut off. It's so fun. It's so, like, awesome not feeling the need to, like, protect her when she hates me. Like, her mom died when she was 5. I was 8. My dad was abusive, and this man told my sister when she was, like, 8 or 10 years old that he was going to kill himself. An adult man tells his little daughter, whose mother just died, that he is going to kill himself. That's what he did. That's the kind of stuff he did. So while I didn't need to protect her physically, I did emotionally. I actually threatened my dad with a baseball bat if he didn't stop texting my sister. I actually took my dad's phone because she was in school and he was harassing her. So, but I don't need to do that anymore. It's not my fucking job. I got a little baby. I got a little daughter that I have to protect. That's my job now, which is so satisfying. Like, I have my own family. I make my own choices. I set the tone for my own family. That's the biggest thing. Setting the tone that we are good, kind, generous, accepting people who do not abuse others, who do not hurt others on purpose, and who apologize and take responsibility if and when they do. I get to create that. Like, how cool. I still have to bring him food and take his trash out and stuff like that, but like, I don't need to hang out there and talk. I don't need to like tell him everything that's going on in my life. Like, I don't need to spend time with him. I don't need to spend time with anybody I don't want to. That's so cool. Well, this is the first time I've lived on my own. That's another thing. That's probably a huge part of it. Like I said, he didn't teach me anything, so it took me a long time after I got clean to learn how to work, how to have money, how to have cards, how to pay bills, how to sign a lease. So now that like I've learned all that, like I'm so grateful. Like, truly. Like, I feel so much better. Like, he still triggers me and like gaslights me and manipulates me, but like I see it and I call him out on it, and like I never get the reaction that I want from him ever, but I don't have to accept it. I can leave. And I'm actually going to have to go back to living with him again, because I have to get in a shelter to get housing for me and my daughter, because it's just me. If I get injured at work or get sick and I can't pay for a month, we're fucked. So, I need to get housing, which means I'm going to need to live with this asshole again for a little while. So, I'm going to have to prepare for that. But, I'm going to try to find a way to be, like, way more organized about my stories. I'm going to try to, like, write them out first in, like, bullet points. Because I don't want to, like, dilute the purpose of these videos. But yeah, this was just about how I felt while I was being abused. And like, I still have issues with authority. Almost more now so as an adult, because I see all these, like, I don't think of laws and rules as they pertain to society. I think of these laws and rules how they pertain to my ethic and moral values. So if I'm like told to do something that does not align with my values, then I question and challenge it. And because why not? And that equates to an issue with authority, I guess. But yeah, I still have issues with authority. But I don't think that's a bad thing. I just need to make sure I'm in a place where people think like I do. Which is what this recovery coach thing is basically. I hope I touched on like enough of like how I felt during this stuff and like the impact it had on me, because that was the point. If anybody has like any suggestions of what I can like do better or like change or add or anything like that, please tell me, please, because I'm lost at this shit and my ADHD don't help. Having said that, thank you. I'm gonna go because this was way longer than I wanted. Way longer. Thank you for listening. And I hope that people can like find a way to value yourself. Find something valuable about yourself. And not just valuable to other people, but to yourself. Like, I think if you become more aware of it, like value, self, if you hear it enough, then it'll become like a habit to like consider your value and how you value yourself. I think it's super important, because if you're not valuing yourself, you need to do something to boost that shit up, because if you don't, life is not going to be as good as it could be. We don't want to survive, folks. We want to live. We want to live. We done just surviving, y'all. We need to get up in life. Get up in life. That's what I'm gonna try to do. That's what I've been trying to do. Alright, I'm gonna shut the fuck up because I'm annoying myself. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And everybody be safe, please. And if anyone's like seriously struggling, reach out, please. Even to me. I'll listen. I love everybody. And like, I really hope and pray and wish that everybody could treat each other better.